A farmer in Denmark was offered a brand new combine worth over 300,000 euros completely free. He turned it down and walked straight back to his 30-year-old Dronningborg. Sounds crazy, right? But he is not alone. All across Europe, from tiny Finnish farms to massive Italian wheat fields, thousands of farmers are making the exact same choice every single year. They are choosing rust over technology, simplicity over software, and machines their grandfathers bought over anything a dealer can offer today. Number 10. Claas Senator. We start with a machine that many younger farmers have never even heard of. But ask anyone who farmed in Western Europe during the 1970s, and they will immediately recognize the name. The Claas Senator was manufactured by Claas, the legendary German agricultural machinery company headquartered in Harsewinkel, North Rhine-Westphalia. Claas was founded by August Claas in 1913, and by the time the Senator hit the market in the early 1970s, the company had already been building harvesting equipment for over half a century. The Senator was a straw walker combine, meaning it used mechanical straw walkers to separate grain from straw, rather than the rotary systems we see in modern machines. It came equipped with a relatively modest engine, typically producing somewhere around 80 to 100 horsepower depending on the specific variant. The cutting width ranged from about 3 to 4 meters. Now, by today's standards, those numbers sound tiny. But the Senator was never about raw power. It was about reliability in the field. The mechanical simplicity of this machine meant that a farmer with a basic toolbox could diagnose and repair almost any issue right there on the spot. There were no electronic control units to fail, no sensors to malfunction, and no dealer-only diagnostic software required. Farmers across Germany, France, and the Benelux countries ran these machines hard for decades. Many Senators clocked well over 3,000 harvesting hours and kept running. The reason farmers refuse to replace them is straightforward. The cost of maintaining a Senator for an entire season is often less than a single repair bill on a modern combine. Number 9. Fahr M1300. Before Deutz and Fahr merged to form Deutz-Fahr in 1975, the Fahr company operated independently out of Gottmedingen in Baden-Württemberg, Germany. Fahr had been producing agricultural machinery since 1870, making it one of the oldest farm equipment manufacturers in European history. The Fahr M1300 was one of the last major combines produced under the standalone Fahr brand. It was a conventional straw walker design with a robust build quality that reflected over a century of German engineering tradition. The M1300 featured a grain tank capacity suited for medium-sized European farms and a threshing system that handled wheat, barley, oats, and rye with impressive efficiency. What makes the M1300 special is its legendary structural integrity. The frame and body panels on these machines were made from heavy-gauge steel, and the threshing drum was built to tolerances that some farmers say rival machines made 20 years later. Finding one in working condition today is not as rare as you might think. Across southern Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, small-scale farmers still run these machines every harvest season. The biggest reason they refuse to upgrade is economics. A small family farm with 50 to 100 hectares simply does not generate enough revenue to justify a machine that costs 300,000 euros or more. The old Fahr does the job, it does it well, and it costs almost nothing to run. Number 8. Dronningborg D7000. Moving up to Scandinavia, we find a combine that is practically a national treasure in Denmark. Dronningborg was a Danish agricultural machinery manufacturer based in the town of Dronningborg near Randers in Jutland. The company began producing combines in the 1950s and quickly became the dominant brand in Scandinavian harvesting. The 7000 series, produced during the 1980s, represented the pinnacle of Dronningborg engineering before the company was eventually acquired by Agso Corporation in 1997. The D7000 was specifically engineered for northern European conditions: short harvesting windows, damp grain, heavy straw, and uneven terrain. It featured a wide drum threshing system and aggressive straw walkers that could handle the tough green-stemmed crops common in Scandinavian agriculture. The cab was designed with Scandinavian ergonomics in mind, offering a level of operator comfort that was ahead of its time. Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian farmers developed an almost emotional attachment to these machines. They were designed by people who understood Nordic farming, and that showed in every detail. The concave settings, the straw chopper performance, and the way the machine tracked across hilly ground were all tuned for local conditions in ways that many modern global platforms simply are not. Our GCO eventually phased out the Dronningborg name, but the machines themselves live on. In rural Denmark especially, you can still see D7000 combines rolling through barley and wheat fields every August. Number 7. Massey Ferguson 520. Massey Ferguson is a brand with Canadian and American roots, but the MF520 combine was actually built at the massive Massey Ferguson factory in Marquette-les-Lilles in northern France. This factory was one of the largest combine manufacturing facilities in Europe, and the machines it produced were designed and optimized specifically for European farming conditions. The MF520, along with its slightly larger sibling, the MF525, was produced from the late 1970s into the 1980s. It was a 5-walker combine with a grain tank capacity of roughly 3,000 liters and engine power in the range of 100 to 120 horsepower. What made the MF520 so popular was its versatility. It handled wheat, barley, oats, rapeseed, peas, and even sunflowers with minimal adjustments. The concave and sieve settings were straightforward to change, and the overall threshing performance was remarkably clean for a machine of its era. Across France, Spain, Portugal, and Eastern Europe, the MF520 became the workhorse of medium-sized farms. Parts availability remains excellent because Massey Ferguson produced these machines in such enormous numbers that the aftermarket supply chain is still robust decades later. Farmers who still run these machines will tell you the same thing. The MF520 might be slow by modern standards, but it gets every last grain into the tank, and it does it without breaking down in the middle of the field. Number 6. Sampo Rosenlew 500 series. From Finland comes one of the most unique combine stories in all of European agriculture. Sampo Rosenlew is a Finnish company based in the city of Pori on the western coast of Finland. The company has roots going back to the 19th century, but it entered the combine harvester market in the 1960s. What makes Sampo Rosenlew different from almost every other combine manufacturer is that they never tried to build the biggest or most powerful machine. Instead, they focused on building compact, nimble combines perfectly suited for the small and irregularly shaped fields common in Finland and the Baltic region. The Sampo 500 series, produced from the late 1970s through the 1980s, became the definitive combine for Northern European small farms. These machines were narrow enough to travel on single-lane rural roads without requiring special transport permits, light enough to work on soft, wet soils without causing excessive compaction, and simple enough for any farmer to maintain without professional help. The 500 series typically produced around 70 to 90 horsepower and featured a cutting width of around 3 meters. The grain tank was modest, but for farms of 20 to 60 hectares, it was more than adequate. Finnish, Estonian, Latvian, and Lithuanian farmers still operate these machines in significant numbers. The combination of low purchase cost on the used market, cheap maintenance, and perfect suitability for small Northern European fields makes the Sampo 500 nearly impossible to justify replacing. Number 5. Deutz-Fahr M2680. After Deutz and Fahr merged in 1975, the newly formed Deutz-Fahr company set about creating a range of combines that combined the engineering strengths of both brands. The M2680 was one of the standout models from this era, produced during the early to mid-1980s. Deutz-Fahr was headquartered in Cologne, Germany, and the M2680 reflected the no-nonsense German engineering philosophy. Build it strong, build it simple, and make it last. The machine was powered by a Deutz air-cooled diesel engine, which was a defining characteristic of the brand. Air-cooled engines eliminated the need for radiators, coolant systems, and all the associated hoses and pumps that can fail in the field. This made the M2680 exceptionally reliable in dusty harvest conditions, where a water-cooled radiator would constantly clog. The 2680 featured a conventional straw walker separation system and a threshing drum that could handle a wide variety of European cereal crops. Engine output was approximately 130 horsepower, and the grain tank held around 4,000 liters. Farmers in Germany, Austria, the Czech Republic, and Poland still run these machines. The air-cooled engine is the single biggest reason there is virtually nothing in the cooling system that can fail. Add to that the legendary durability of the Deutz engine block itself, and you have a machine that can run for thousands of hours with basic maintenance. Number 4. New Holland Clayson 1545. Here is a name that commands deep respect across Western Europe. The Clayson story begins in Zedelgem, a small town in the province of West Flanders in Belgium. Leon Claes founded his agricultural machinery company there in 1906. The company began building combine harvesters and eventually became one of the most important combine manufacturers in Europe. In 1964, the American company Sperry New Holland acquired Claes, and the combines were subsequently marketed under the Clayson brand name, later transitioning fully to the New Holland name. The Clayson 1545, produced in the late 1970s and early 1980s, was one of the finest combines to come out of the Zedelgem factory. It was a 5-walker machine with a powerful and efficient threshing system that set the standard for grain cleanliness in its class. The Zedelgem factory had a reputation for building combines with exceptional fit and finish. The sheet metal work, the welding quality, and the precision of the mechanical components were all a step above what many competitors offered at the time. Farmers noticed this quality and rewarded it with fierce brand loyalty. Across Belgium, the Netherlands, northern France, and the United Kingdom, the Clayson 1545 became the default choice for progressive arable farmers. Many of these machines are still in operation today, particularly on smaller farms and as backup machines on larger operations. The reason for their longevity is the quality of construction that came from that Belgian factory. These machines were simply built better than they needed to be, and that over-engineering is still paying dividends 40 years later. Number 3. Laverda 3550. Italy is not the first country most people associate with combine harvesters, but the Laverda company from Briganza in the Veneto region of northeastern Italy built some of the finest harvesting machines Europe has ever seen. The Laverda company was founded by Pietro Laverda in 1873 as a manufacturer of threshing machines. Over the following century, the company evolved into a full combine harvester manufacturer with a reputation for innovative engineering and robust construction. The Laverda 3550 and its larger sibling, the 3790, were produced during the 1980s and became iconic machines across southern Europe. The 3550 was powered by a Fiat or Iveco diesel engine producing around 140 horsepower. It featured a wide threshing drum and an aggressive separation system designed to handle the hard, dry grain conditions typical of Mediterranean agriculture. The machine excelled in wheat, durum wheat, sunflowers, and soybeans, all staple crops of Italian, Spanish, and southern French farming. What set Laverda apart was the Italian approach to design. The cab layout, the control placement, and the overall ergonomics reflected a thoughtfulness that many competing brands lacked. The visibility from the operator's seat was excellent, and the machine felt surprisingly agile for its size. Italian farmers are known for their loyalty to Laverda. In the Po Valley, one of the most productive agricultural regions in all of Europe, you will still see 3550 and 3790 combines working every summer. The combination of suitability for local crops, parts availability through the extensive Italian dealer network, and genuine pride in owning an Italian-made machine keeps these combines in service year after year. Number 2. Claas Mercator 75. Back to Germany and back to Claas for one of the most beloved small combines in European history. The Claas Mercator was produced from the late 1960s through the 1970s and came in several variants, with the Mercator 75 being one of the most popular. This was a compact, lightweight combine designed for small to medium-sized farms across Europe. It produced around 75 to 85 horsepower and featured a cutting width of approximately 3 to 3.6 meters The Mercator was the machine that brought mechanized harvesting to thousands of small European farms that had previously relied on binder and thresher systems or even hand harvesting. It was affordable, easy to operate, and simple to maintain. For an entire generation of European farmers, the Mercator was their first combine, and that kind of emotional connection does not fade easily. The build quality was pure class, solid, dependable, and overbuilt for its intended purpose. The straw walker system was efficient, the grain cleaning was surprisingly good for such a small machine, and the overall reliability was outstanding. Today, the Mercator holds an almost legendary status among vintage farming enthusiasts and small-scale farmers alike. Working examples change hands regularly at farm auctions, and the prices remain strong for a machine of this age, which tells you everything about the demand that still exists. Farmers in hilly regions of Germany, Switzerland, and Austria particularly value the Mercator for its compact dimensions and light weight, which allow it to work on slopes and in tight field corners where larger modern machines simply cannot go. Number 1. Claas Dominator 98. And here we are at number 1. And honestly, this machine needs no introduction for anyone who has spent time around European agriculture. The Claas Dominator series is arguably the single most important combine harvester line in European farming history, and the Dominator 98 sits at the heart of that legacy. Produced from the late 1970s through the late 1980s, the Dominator 98 was a six-walker combine that represented the absolute gold standard for medium to large-scale European arable farming. Claas introduced the original Dominator range in 1971, and the series went through continuous refinement over the following 2 decades. The Dominator 98 featured a powerful Mercedes-Benz or Perkins diesel engine, producing approximately 140 to 160 horsepower, a grain tank of roughly 5,000 liters, and a cutting width of up to 5.4 meters, depending on the header fitted. But the raw specifications only tell part of the story. What made the Dominator 98 truly special was the way all the systems worked together. The threshing drum, the concave, the straw walkers, the grain cleaning shoe, and the return system were all engineered as an integrated whole. The result was a level of grain sample quality and harvest efficiency that shocked the industry when it was first released and remained competitive for decades afterward. The Dominator 98 could handle anything European agriculture threw at it. Heavy, damp wheat in England, tall barley in Denmark, laid and tangled oats in Ireland, bone-dry durum wheat in Spain. It did not matter. The machine adapted, it performed, and it kept going. Claas built these combines at their Harswinkel factory, with a level of quality control that borders on obsessive. Every major component was tested, every weld was inspected, and every machine was run through a rigorous quality assurance process before leaving the factory. This attention to detail is the reason why Dominator 98 combines with 4,000, 5,000, or even 6,000 engine hours are still working today. The parts availability for the Dominator 98 is extraordinary. Claas has maintained an aftermarket parts supply for these machines for decades, and the independent parts market is equally strong. Virtually any component, from threshing drum bars to straw walker bearings to sieve sections, can be sourced quickly and affordably. Farmers across every corner of Europe run Dominator 98 combines, from Scotland to Sicily, from Portugal to Poland. This machine is everywhere. Some farmers have owned the same Dominator 98 for 30 or 40 years, passing it down through generations. The attachment is not just economic, it is deeply personal. The Dominator 98 helped build farms, feed families, and sustain rural communities for decades. When you ask a European farmer why they refuse to replace their Dominator 98, the answer is always the same. Why would they? It still works. It still harvests cleanly. It still starts on the first turn of the key every single morning. And every euro they do not spend on a new combine is a euro that stays in the farm. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss a video. We will see you in the next one.